Cheers, everybody. Welcome back to another video. another video. I was in Sainsbury's yesterday and walking down the beer aisle like you do, and I saw one of these beers and I thought, oh, I haven't had that for years. Now I looked across and I saw another one of these beers. And I thought, oh, I haven't had that for years either. Wouldn't it be good if I revisit them and compare them? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Boys and girls, we're going to compare two beers. Now, these two beers are not ordinary beers. These beers, how do you put it? And we're going back 10 years. One of them I reviewed 10 years ago, and one of them let's reminisce. Let's reminisce. Right, the first beer is from BrewDog, and it is their Punk IPA. Now, I don't know what the shenanigans are going, the current shenanigans are happening at BrewDog. I don't know. I don't care. Haven't got a fucking clue. Okay. Last I heard that James Watt is not there no more. I haven't got a fucking clue, and I don't care. Okay. I watched back my review of this. Now, I haven't touched this beer, hand on heart, for 10 years. I haven't. And for good reason. Because BrewDog, for me, their stock has got lower over the years, and we are really scraping at the bottom of your drain pipe coming out of your toilet now regarding BrewDog. I've never touched it since I reviewed it. Now look back at my review, and I did it 10 years ago. It was in the bottle. It was in the 330ml bottle, and they just changed their labels, and I think they just appeared in the supermarket with this beer. And I said I like BrewDog, and I said I think they're really, really good. I think they're a really, really good brewery, and I like this beer. It's okay. It's, looking back at that, looking back at JB of 10 years ago, I thought, oh, what do you really know? If only you knew if you only knew what way craft beer would go in this country. You can't predict the future, of course, but at the time, yeah, I like BrewDog and I like Punk IPA. I haven't touched it since, and that's the God honest truth. So for me, and I've drunk a lot of beer, and I mean a lot of beer, since that review to now. Okay, so I thought I'd do it. I'll just have another look at this. 5.4% ABV. Now, the next beer. I reviewed this one 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I reviewed this one. We're going off to Beavertown, and we got the Gamma Ray. I watched the review back, and I praised it. I thought it's fantastic. The artwork itself, fantastic. If anybody asks me what beers, really were pioneering in British craft beer, I would say these two here. These two beers were pioneers at the beginning of the craft beer boom, And of course, since then, we've had a lot better beer. We've had a lot better brewers. And, these now are seen as I don't know, they're not seen as a joke to me at the moment. I haven't tried them. But for me, I look back at these with a sense of nostalgia. Okay, because say in 10, 20 years' time, these could be in the same stable as what Double Diamond is now. Some brewer out there bringing back Punk IPA, some brewer out there bringing back Gamma Ray. You know what I mean? So I thought, let's do these beers. So I'm going to first do Punk IPA, which I loved back then. But obviously, tastes change, people change. Over 3,000 beers later, Is it still going to stand up? Let's see. So I'm approaching this review with honesty, integrity. Which BrewDog, let's face it, don't know. Let's go with. There's a slight fruitiness there. I would say lemon more than anything else. A slight lemon there. Maybe a hint of berry, but not much. So it says, look, they arrogantly put the beer that started it all. Punk IPA. Slightly chilled. Same with the Gamma Ray. So let's pour this out and have a look at it. I have to say that this must be the most cloned beer by beer home brewers ever. You know, everybody wants to brew their version of this beer. Okay, we've had BrewDog bars shutting all over the place. Like I say, I think James Waters left, and it feels like the company's in free fall. It feels like they've sold their soul to the devil. Now the devil wants his bit. That's what it feels like, you know. So let's look at this beer. As you can see, yep, amber colour, medium flow carbonation, dissipating head. Let's get a whiff. There is a slight fruity note there. Is it lemon? Maybe lemon, berry. It smells a bit hedgerowy, actually. that's It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't smell skunky. It smells fruity. I'm going to go in. Cheers. It smells better than what it tastes, to be honest. Wow. That is definitely, I can tell you now, going back 10 years ago, that is not the same beer at all. That is not the same beer at all. You get more of a malt build. Get more of the malt build to this beer. It's thin. Watery. Not much hops used in this, I'll tell you now. I'd love to know the cost of brewing this, because over the last couple of years, every time I've done a BrewDog beer, I've always questioned the economics of brewing their beer. You know, if you go up to, it's based in Ellen, aren't they still? I take it they are, where the BrewDog brewery is. They've got the whole street. If you go on Street View, put in the BrewDog brewery, they've got the whole street. They've still got the overworks at the end of the street. I haven't seen any of their sours about. Getting at this, what do I get? Right. You go in, very little hoppiness for me. You get like a watery thinness with malt on the back end. It does not taste anything. It does not taste like an IPA. If like a big bold IPA, it doesn't even taste like an old school IPA, like you get from Marston's. I mean, I think with Marston's IPA, at least it would get to India. This lot wouldn't even get past the Isles of Scilly. I'm telling you now. I don't think it would get past the dock. If this came out of Southampton, it wouldn't get past the Isle of Wight. Go in again. There's a slight chemical note to it, a maltiness to it. But as far as fruity notes and everything else, they're not there. They really aren't there. I don't know. I could rant on about this. It For me at the moment, it feels like the Carling of craft beer. Um, and I think for me that is a great what Carling is to lager, this is to craft beer. Okay, that's what it feels like. So for me, I'm shocked how bad it is because I was expecting a little bit more hoppy notes from the taste. I remember the Punk IPA, it was a lot better than this. So let's put this to one side and we go to Beavertown. Now, Beavertown, I'm not really a fan of. Years ago, I was, but for me, with Beavertown, the emphasis has always been put more. I've always felt the emphasis has always been put more onto the marketing than the beer. And it's always grated me. I don't do many Beavertown beers on the channel. I do pick them up, but it just feels a little bit pushy. Saying that though, the can design was pioneering at the time. Let's face it. So we got the Gamma Ray from Beavertown coming in at the same ABV as the BrewDog IPA. Picked up, I think, at the same price, about getting over the £3 mark. So there you go. Now, again, another beer I've hardly touched. I think I might have had it once since I reviewed it. I reviewed this 8 years ago. Really, really liked it. So, let's give it a go and see what it's about. It's a little bit lively, so I'm going to put it straight in the glass because it's a little bit lively, like I say. It's just shot its bolt everywhere. May have to pause the video. I think I'll pause it for now because it's just got a little bit lively. Right, just cleared that up. So, beer in a glass, amber in colour, medium flow carbonation, frothy, slightly ivory looking there. Let's get a whiff. Yeah, hint of fruit, not much. Slightly marmalade-y, maybe. You do get a hint of orange wine, maybe lemonness there. I'm going to go in. Cheers. Fucking hell. I tell you what, how the mighty has fallen here, I tell you. Oh, fucking hell. Again. Thin. It's thin. As you go in, there's a slight fruity caramel note as you go in. Towards the back end, that beer, I tell you what have they done to these beers? Towards the back end, you're not really getting that much there. It's you're getting a slight malty feel similar to the BrewDog. You're getting a malty feel towards the back end. Hang your heads in shame, you two. I'll tell you what. You know what makes me angry more than anything with these beers is the fact is that people go into the supermarket with their hard-earned money thinking they're getting a good beer. And they're not. They're getting absolute shite. I think I'm more shocked with the Gamma Ray than the Punk. I was expecting the Punk to be worse. I wasn't expecting the Gamma Ray to be this bad. As you go in, there's a hint of fruit there. then it just like sucks itself dry with a maltiness towards the back end. In terms of hoppy flavours, for me, it's not there. It's not doing it. It feels like the life has been dragged out of this beer for me. Right, let's bring them both together and compare. At the moment, what do I think at the moment? Not a lot between the two of them, to be honest. Right, let's bring them back. Let's compare the pair of them. Right, onto the light, where the colour's concerned and the flow of carbonation. I'll tell you what, they're exactly the same. They are exactly the same in appearance. I think the BrewDog might have a little bit more whiff to it than me. The proof is in the taste. So I'm going to go in with the BrewDog first. Next, Gamma Ray. They're very, very similar. Very similar in taste, terms of taste. Very similar in terms of mouthfeel. Very similar in terms of body. Have I got a winner? This is it. Have I got a winner? Have I got a winner? No, I haven't. In terms of quality, enjoyment, taste, feel, they are shocking. Absolutely shocking. I think, hand on heart, that's the heart, hand on heart, I don't think I've had a comparison as bad as these two. I think they are absolutely woeful. You know, I've been watching a lot of beer reviews over the years, you know, and regarding these two beers, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that. How critical they have been of BrewDog and Beavertown as well. And I've always been, you know, skeptical. I've always tried, you know, to be optimistic about them. At the end of the day, you know, the brewers, and from a beer reviewing perspective, you want these breweries to do well. You know, you do. You know, we sometimes maybe look at life in rose tinted glasses regarding these breweries. But you know what? It's a reality check for me. This video may be one of the most important videos I've ever done, because it's a real kick in the nuts for me, a real reality check of how far these two beers have got fallen from grace. You know, I look back at the old reviews. I loved them both. I really did. And I haven't touched them since. Because there's always new beers to discover, new breweries to discover. But I've always thought at the back of my mind that maybe one day I'll go back to them, and I've done now. And I look at these two beers and I think, you know what? They're fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. Anybody out there who wants to spend money on this shit, all I can say to you is, you don't know what proper beer is. If you think these beers are decent, you don't know what proper beer is, believe you me. Coming to these two, I'll start with the BrewDog. Yeah. Terrible. The way they, you know, this brewery's been pillaged, raped, the way they kind of like, whoever's in charge has treated their staff, the way people, the money men have come in and absolutely disgraced the name and the brewery. It's disgusting. Like I say, back in the old days, I like BrewDog, but now, for me, they are a disgrace. They are a disgrace. They really are. Is this going to be the last BrewDog beer on the channel? That's a good question. I don't think it'll ever be the last BrewDog beer on the channel. For me, because you're so inquisitive about anything they put into the supermarkets, I think I will always review. Getting to the Punk IPA, is this the last time I ever have it? Most definitely. I don't see myself ever drinking or supping anything remotely connected to this, any beers of this Punk IPA ever again. I just think shocking. Gamaway, Beavertown. Another beer I loved back in the day. But for me, I feel more sad than angry regarding this beer because, you look at look at the can. It looks cracking, doesn't it? It does. But, it's all about the art and you got nothing there to back it up. When it comes to the beer, there's nothing there to back it up. Even if you go into a pub and you see their neck oil, it's got a fancy kind of like tap and everything. It's all fucking gimmicky. But when it comes to the proper thing, the beer itself, it doesn't back it up. We are not mugs. Beer drinkers are not mugs. They want a good beer. You look at Track Brewing, prime example. Nice, simple labels. Beer, outstanding. Again, Beat Brewery. Nice, simple labels. Beer, generally outstanding. It's not about the marketing. We see through this marketing. But the Joe Blogs who walks into the supermarket, sees it, will pick that up and most will think it's a good beer because of the marketing. Come on. Craft beer has moved on. Craft beer for me is all about the beer. It's not about that. I've waffled on with this, but it does. It gets on my nerves because, if craft beer is judged on these two beers from the general public who are not, proper beer drinkers, then we're in trouble. You got person in a garage working his graft off, getting his beers out, which puts these two to shame. But you get the Joe public who goes to the supermarket, picks them up, thinking they're the bee's knees. Nah, for me, this is everything that's wrong with beer. These two beers. Boys and girls, if you made it to 23 minutes... I'm going to have to send you a medal or I'll send you something. I'll just get passionate about it because, there's a lot of good beer out there. There's a lot of great breweries out there. And, these two idiots, I call them idiots, these two idiots are in the supermarkets lapping it up while, there's people out there kind of like producing real good beer and they'll hardly ever get any mention or hardly get any outlet. Well, I'm going to knock off now. I'm 23 minutes in, but I just wound myself up through this video. Look after yourselves. Kiss it, bib. I might as well put this on straight away. I think I will. Bib. Look after yourselves. Kiss it.